Hello, welcome to the Power Up Talk Show, a talk show where we bring together community leaders and inspirational people that are making a difference in our community. I am Sandy Spady, your host, and welcome to our show. First thing we like to do, we like to start it off with Dion Bass with cocktails. Dion.
Thanks, Sandy. Thanks for having me. Today I'm going to do something special. I'm going to take some inspiration from my good friend Marty McFly, and I'm going to make DAC to the future. So we're going to start out with a little pineapple gum syrup. So basically, you take a gum Arabic, pineapple, and just a little bit of thyme and a little bit of syrup. Add that together in a sous vide, and boom, you got yourself pineapple gum syrup. As always, we're going to be using fresh squeezed lime juice. I squeezed this right before we started the show. And last but not least, we're going to be using a rum from Barbados called Bamboo. This is absolutely one of my favorite rum. Has hints of pineapple, hints of banana. It's lovely. It's wonderful. All right. And then when we get done, we're just going to give those a little shake. All right, now that we've got those shaken, and keep in mind, pineapple emulsifies pretty rapidly, so it creates a lot of foam on top of your drinks. It looks really fun, and you can decorate it too.
Is that a banana peel?
No, it's a lime peel, and then I have a little fortune cookie on top.
Oh, that's it. I couldn't see that far away. Fortune cookie bonus.
I know.
And there we have it, guys. DAC to the future.
Oh, that's good.
Dion Bass, Songbird Cocktails. Cheers.
All right, let's have a toast to this spectacular, beautiful future drink.
That's good.
That's good. All right, audience, we have an author in the house. S. Vaughn.
Yes.
A new author, on to her second, right? Mm-hmm. A wife and mother, has a dog named Sookie, Snacky.
Sookie.
Ring a bell. Woohoo! Yes. Well, my dog means everything too, so I had to put the dog's name out there.
I love it.
Miss Sarah. Okay. It's a big deal writing a book.
It's an accomplishment for sure. Yes.
Yeah, and it's called, get ready, audience, Taken, Not Destroyed. Da 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 da. I mean, this is good. They call it the dark romance book.
Yeah.
What is a dark romance?
That's a good question,
Yes.
Sandy. I didn't really know that before I wrote it either. It's kind of like a romance that has dark undertones, dark themes that maybe not everybody goes for, themes that touch on the darker side of life, so it's not a happy, funny romance, but, there still is those romantic elements, but there is like open door spice, so that's definitely something to take into account if you're going to pick the book up.
Open door spice. Okay, tell me what that is. Okay, I like that. Open door.
So that means when we're talking about kissing, the door doesn't close when I say they kissed. It means we keep on talking about it.
Okay, we all understand. Yes. Okay.
So that means warning moms and dads, if your 14-year-old picks up the book, it's up to you. But I wouldn't let my child read the book. I'd wait till they're a little older.
Well, I just had an author night at Women with Voices. I had 11 amazing authors come in and do snippets of their story. And I would love for you to share what you shared that night, because it just explains your book perfectly.
Well, so my main character, she's 40, which is near and dear to my heart, because I just turned 40, a few years ago.
Okay, that's
but we're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of women, they connect with that. Especially women in my age group, they've read plenty of books about the younger generation. It's nice to have the older generation represented. And she's married to a man who, he's not so nice. And we've all talked to women, maybe had a friend or ourselves or someone who maybe is in that relationship. And he decides to surprise her with a vacation. And she's like, okay. So they go. And then
Vacation where?
To Mexico.
Yeah, see, I think the plot thickens to Mexico.
Mexico.
A lot of things could happen in Mexico.
Right. But it's also the place to
beautiful,
go,
too.
right?
Yes,
It's the place to go. But she's like, okay, why? Like, we haven't been on vacation forever. And they go, and she's thinking to herself, hey, it just doesn't seem like you want to be here. Like, why'd you bring me here? And he just says, go entertain yourself. And so she says, okay, fine. I hate the beach. I'm going to go on an excursion. And so she goes, and she gets kidnapped by the Mexican cartel.
Da 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 da.
Right?
Good.
Right?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Terrible, terrible. But this is her story about what happens. It also brings to light one horrible thing that happens in our world, not just our country, not just Mexico, but everywhere, human trafficking, sex trafficking to be most specific. The cartel kidnaps her for that purpose. Now, the rest is a little fantastical, probably not what would happen if they kidnapped her for that purpose, but she becomes the possession of the cartel leader and the obsession of the second. I'll let you all figure out, you can imagine what that might be about. And she has to escape. She has to find herself. She has to grow into who she is and escape. And book 2 is coming out soon. April 7th.
The plot continues with the same characters. How'd you come up with the characters? I mean, how did you come up with this book? I mean, it's like, I'm laying in bed, I'm gonna have a dark romance. I mean, it's unique.
How do I explain? I guess first, the human trafficking side.
Yeah.
I went to a gala for Restored Wings, and I just kind of became connected with the sex trafficking part and found a purpose in that. And I try and support as best I can. It's difficult to support. You mean you can't ever, you just so monetarily I support as best as I can the efforts of the victims. But I found a heart for them. I found a heart to support sex trafficking victims. And I learned to what a horrible thing it is in our world. And I found out that, the best thing you can do for those victims is to educate. Yeah. Awareness is probably number one. Yeah. People don't realize how much of a thing it is, how close to home it can be. So every month in my newsletter, not only is it in my books, but in my newsletter, I put just a little educational part so I can continue to educate.
I was at that gala with you. I remember seeing you that night, and I actually have served on multiple boards with Rejuvenating and Coalition of Human Trafficking. It is right here in our back door.
Absolutely.
Right? And you don't have to go to Mexico.
No.
It happened in Mexico, but it can happen right here at the high school football game. It's so real. And I love that you're bringing light to a subject in kind of a different way, but it's still bringing awareness to the subject, which is beautiful.
Yes, and it's not just like women of older. I think that it stems, and I think younger generations, the children, through the internet is a larger issue right now, but it's just being awareness. It's awareness across the board, and that's my biggest thing, is to bring awareness to people.
Now let's go back to your audience. I find this interesting because there's an audience for
sure.
every type of book.
For sure.
What is your ideal audience for this dark romance book? Because they're very devoted.
Anyone who's interested, honestly. I know that the age group spans from, young college women to, I mean, my mom liked the book, for Pete's sake, and she's in her 70s.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I don't see many men following, but that doesn't mean that there's not a man out there who would enjoy my book. It just, I don't see that.
They're not as engaged as women.
Exactly. But
they're not going to admit to it.
Maybe that's it. They won't admit.
But
they're there.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're
absolutely.
there. Absolutely. I'm sure there's a male out there who would love my book, and maybe he wouldn't like raise his hand and say, that's my type of book. But anybody who thinks, oh yeah, I would like that, you're my audience. You're my reader. Come read it.
Really on the edge, like what's going to happen. And I think sometimes we get stuck in our boring everyday life. And I think the audience for this particular book, I feel that they just want something to awake them, something exciting, something that they can relate to. And as far as like, I hope it doesn't happen to me.
Well,
but I mean, it's very, I feel like it's a very devoted audience. I think they love the intense, on the edge feeling. Even at the Women with Voices event, you had gals come up because she walked up to me. She goes, I don't know if anyone's going to like this book. I'm like, you're going to have your people. And here, a whole group, they're going to do it for their book club. It's like 50 Shades of Grey category, not or yes?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I would say they kind of.
So we all know what that is.
Yeah,
I guess who hasn't read it? Okay, we're saying yes.
Yeah.
So there is a huge audience for this. Some might admit to it, but there is. And I love that there's a whole group now, book club, they're going to do this book.
I know. I told the girls, I was like, okay, guys, I got to know. You got to tell me what you think. Because I told my husband when I published my book, I just want one person to like it, is what I told him. And now I'm kind of like, okay, I'm going to be selfish. I want more than one person to like my book.
People are going to like it at a whole women's book club. I hope you got their information, right? To hear back?
No, I didn't.
I might have it. I might have a something.
Something, yeah.
Event coordinator. I think that's so awesome. How are you promoting it? What are you doing? Besides, I'm a PR manager,
yeah,
so
right.
I'm telling Sarah what to do. But yes.
That's the hardest part about being an independent author or independent, just an indie author in general, is you're in charge of everything from the writing to the publishing to the marketing, everything. It's all me. That's probably the hardest part, is the marketing.
Question.
Yeah.
What made you be independent versus going with a publishing company? Like what's like someone's out there thinking, I'm going to write a book. Why did you choose the way you chose?
I think I can keep everything. It's all mine. Nobody tells me what to write. Nobody tells me how to write it. Nobody tells me, well, I don't like that part. You have to change it. It's all mine. It's just, then I have to find everything, like piecemeal it together. I have to find the cover artist. I have to find my editor, whom I love. I was so lucky to find a really good editor. We meld, and she's the best. But I have to find all that myself.
How did you find that? How do you find these people?
So
LinkedIn,
there's a group called the Alliance of Independent Authors. I think that's the name of it. And I just kind of got on their website, started looking around, and they publish, and then you can connect with people.
So it's kind of like a VA in a way. They have different people, like here's a group of editors, and then you can interview them, or you just
then I started sending out emails to editors and said, this is what I write. They call them trigger warnings, things in the book that might upset a certain group of people, like triggers that, if you're reading this, it might upset you emotionally, so you should know that this is in the book. And I've got a little QR code in the front of my book that you can scan and go to my website, so you can see what's in there that might trigger certain readers.
Is that something you did on your own, or someone taught you that?
I picked that up being in the community.
Nice.
Yeah, I've never have known if I hadn't gotten into this community, especially on social media. So they call it Bookstagram. I thought it was like a whole separate, I actually thought it was a different app that you had to download, but it's actually just like a section of Instagram that once you start getting into the book community, It's just a book community on Instagram.
Nice.
I know, it's amazing. The people that I've met, I've met so many authors and other people who are just all about the books and the independent authors, and it's just an amazing community how much they help you.
Now the character, the gal, what's her name? Can we get that away or not?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Rayella.
Ooh. Tell me about her, because I feel like she had to be in your head for a while. Or so, how do you come up with your character?
Oh heck, I don't. I'll be honest. I dream about them.
Yeah.
I dream about them. Like I dream about them.
What does she look like? Tell us what she looks like.
Oh, I wish I'd brought like my stuff.
It's okay.
I actually have character art. I met an artist and she drew him for me, and she nailed my 2 characters like spot on.
Can you just share a little bit to get us intrigued here?
So she's a little heavier, which is something that her husband gives her a hard time about. Like, did you drink Diet Coke, not regular Coke? When are you going back to, she put the weight on when she was pregnant, and so she's got a little bit.
So that relates to a lot of women.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Great.
And she's not super self-conscious about it, so you don't see her thinking about it a lot. You just hear a couple comments from him. So she's good with herself, but she is a bit on the heavier side. So in the character art, you can see that. Mm-hmm. And she's got really like kind of white blonde hair. But the cartel gentlemen, so in the cartel, they don't go by their names. Oh. And if you research cartels, this is how a lot of them do that. They aren't known by their names. They're known by pseudonyms. And in this cartel, the second, his name is Segundo, which is second in
the
Spanish. In Spanish.
Okay.
He is responsible for naming everybody who comes into the cartel. And so he kind of gives everybody names, but he knows who everybody's real name is as well. So we learn his real name, but we don't learn anybody else's true names, like names they were given at birth. So everybody has like a pseudonym. And
didn't we have that when we were like 21 going out to the bar? They're like, I'm Ginger, you're Susie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay.
What's your name?
Yeah. Hot spice. Okay.
I'm Ginger.
Yeah. I'm getting it now.
Okay,
right? Funny. Okay, great.
Yes. So that's I did a little research on cartels, and that is kind of how they do it, And so this is how my cartel has decided to proceed, is everybody kind of has a nickname. So if you're reading it and you're like, okay, I speak Spanish, why is this guy going by Rat? Well, because
that's his name.
It's
Ginger, yeah. Mm-hmm. So what does he look like? I feel like he's handsome.
Of course.
Of course he is.
Of course he is. And being in a cartel, he's tatted everywhere. There's probably no room for anywhere to be no tats, but there is a tattoo that is branded on every cartel member. And so that tattoo is very, very well described, and actually I had it created. I commissioned it to be created. And
how do you do that? What's that mean? Commissioned to be created?
So I
went on. Like you own it? You own the art?
I do. I
nice.
own the art. Yes. And I went on a website and put it out there for tattoo artists to create it. They created it for me. Wow. Yeah. I told them what I wanted, and they all kind of threw out their ideas, and I paid for one person's idea because I liked it.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Is any pictures in the book? I didn't look. Is there a picture of him at all?
Not in the book.
Okay.
The art is.
Yeah.
If you when you turn to Segundo's page,
yeah.
The little that's the art. That's the tattoo. I put it on the top of the.
I like that.
Yeah. So.
I just have to ask: is he married in this book?
He's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a few years younger than her.
Okay.
I think So when I develop my characters, every character gets a character interview. Every character gets a, if you know what an enneagram is, it's a personality type. Yes. Mm-hmm. So every character gets a personality type, a date of birth, an interview. I know everything about them, where they were born, their family, their siblings, what they did for school, how long, this, that, all that stuff. I know that about Ray. I know that about, well, Hugo is his name. I know that about everybody who's primary in the book. Yes.
Character. And you did that on your own? You just came up with it, right? Right?
Well, someone told me, so I went to an author convention, like a book signing in Boston called Sinners and Stardust. And one of the authors said that they had character sheets. And I was like, what's this? And so they told me it's the interview. Now, I knew this stuff about my characters, but I didn't actually write it all down.
Okay.
So they started telling me. And I was like, oh, so you do this? And they were like, yeah. I'm like, well, I know these things about my characters, but I didn't write it all down, nor did I go in that much depth. And I find that actually it's very helpful because sometimes when you write things, you're like, oh, I need to know that. So I have it already written down.
Wow.
And so I'm very organized and very anal.
She's very good. I know her personally. She's very organized. Yes, I believe that 100%, which you had to be for this. That's a lot of detail.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to tell you 90% of that stuff is not in my book. Yeah. But if you asked me about it, I could give you the information.
I almost feel like that should be additional fun on your website that says if you want to know the characters behind the character, the story behind the character, right?
But it's on
your own book club online. Look at me, my own marketing head's going ding, ding, ding.
You send me your ideas, I'll see what I can do.
I mean, that's fun.
But it's interesting because I plan out my stories, I plan out my chapters, and then my characters take over.
Yeah.
They do their own stuff. I don't know how they come up with it. I'm just the writer. The characters, they take over.
Now, I know you're busy because you have a full-time job too, plus this.
Yeah.
When do you find the time to write? I mean, you have 2 kids. You're,
Oh, my
wife.
children are old though.
Yeah.
They take care of themselves.
They're in their own world. Yeah.
They're in their own world. I do have to kind of schedule time and say I'm gonna set this time aside because social media takes up a lot of time. I mean, it really can.
It is like
its own job.
It's a job. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I do have to set time aside.
Yeah.
Especially now. I mean, now I'm moving on to a new project. I'm doing something different. I'm writing a romantic fantasy, like a fantasy. A romantasy is kind of, they shove the words together.
Is that your second book?
It's my third.
So you're already on your 3rd book.
I am.
Are they the same characters or different?
No, this is like a
totally
completely different.
How about the second book? Does that continue to the first book?
So my first 2 are a duet.
Ooh, duet. I like
yes, that's what they call it.
Okay.
And so that one publishes April 7th. So it's done.
Wow.
It's finished. It'll be published April 7th. It's finished. That's the end of the story. It's the end of Rayola's story. It'll be over when it's out there. So I'm done with it completely. So I'm starting something new.
Did she break up with her husband at the end? Can you give that out? I want to know if she left him. Can you tell? No.
You don't want to know.
Oh.
Gosh, neither do they.
Oh, I know. It's killing me. Okay, I can see why you'd want to buy the book. Like you're already bringing these people to my life. Like I'm like, what happened to her?
Well, and there are new characters in book 2.
Yeah.
I mean, the same ones do make an appearance, but there's a new love interest. There's a new man because she's, she was destroyed. She was injured.
Yeah.
In Mexico.
Yeah.
So she needs to fix herself, right?
And that's like domestic violence. Mm-hmm. It is sex trafficking. Why don't they leave? Why didn't they leave when they were, being abused and in domestic violence marriage for years? Why don't they leave when they're sex trafficking and they're getting their nails done? It's a trauma bonding. They can't leave. It's a circle of abuse. But then usually something happens and they break free, right? So is there a break free in there? I kind of feel like maybe, no, can't tell me. Oh, it's killing me. Okay, I feel like there is. Okay, you got to get the book, audience. Wow. So tell me more about the 3rd book.
Okay, so it's actually, it's a set of books. So there's 3 books that are the setup and description of how a dystopian world is created. And the last 4 are a series It's about it's a fae world, fantasy. Fairy is in danger. Fairy comes up.
Fairies like fairies?
Like
okay.
fae, the fae.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like fairies,
Okay.
it's fae.
Okay, fae.
Okay. But fairy is where they live, right?
Okay.
Fairy, you know. So the fae come into the human world, and when they do that, they open the door for magic and other people to come in.
That sounds fun.
So because of that, it creates a human dystopian world. So this is no longer the human world as we know it.
Kind of like an alien world in a way,
Well,
but
it's-
prettier.
They call it dystopian,
Okay,
right? So
dystopian.
the first 3 books kind of describe how the fae coming into our world changes it. And then the last 4 books will be how fairy is saved or isn't saved. I don't know. But it's all up here. And I've got the plans in a different file. I've got all the characters. So yeah.
All right, we're getting close to the end. How can the audience find these books? It's killing me. Where can we get these books? Where can we follow you on social media? Tell us.
So my main presence is Instagram. Because it's just me, I spend most of my, I focus on Instagram. It's the easiest for me. S. Vaughn Author. I'm easy, it's easy. So S. Vaughn Author on Instagram. The World Wide Web, I'm S. Vaughn Author. On Facebook, I'm S. Vaughn Author.
So it's S.VON.
No. S. VON.
Oh, there's no period.
AUTHOR. Shove the words together, the letters together.
Okay. See, I'm glad we got that straight. Well, thank you for being my guest. I just adore you even before you were an author, but now you're an author, I adore you more.
Thank you for
so great.
having me, Sandy.
Absolutely. Audience, make sure you grab the book. It is called Taken Not Destroyed. It's on Amazon. It's probably going to be a #1 soon. Grab your girlfriends, grab a book club. Let's start this fun together. Yes. And remember, you can make a difference. You just have to have the desire. Go do it. Thank you.